Title: From Shadows to Light. In a small, unremarkable town, whispers traveled like shadows, casting doubt and judgment on those who dared to stray from the norm. Among the residents was a young woman named Emily, who had grown up under the watchful eye of her mother, Margaret. Margaret was a woman of strict principles, her gaze as cold as the winter winds that swept through their neighborhood. Emily's father, a man lost to the bottle, often fell silent in the evenings, leaving Emily to navigate the harsh realities of life alone. As Emily walked to the clinic one humid morning, her heart raced with fear and shame. She was pregnant, and the news had spread like wildfire through the town. Her mother had not accompanied her. Instead, she stood in the kitchen doorway, arms crossed, eyes filled with disappointment. "You've brought shame upon us," she had said, her voice sharp and unforgiving. The weight of her mother's words pressed down on Emily as she made her way to the hospital, her belly swollen with the life she carried inside. The sterile smell of antiseptic filled the air as Emily lay on the hard hospital bed, her body racked with pain. When the nurse finally placed her newborn daughters in her arms, Emily's heart sank. Their skin was dark, a stark contrast to her own pale complexion. Panic surged through her as she realized the implications of their appearance. The whispers of the town echoed in her mind, and she felt as if she were drowning in shame. Days passed, and Emily could not bring herself to touch her daughters. Her mother visited once, standing by the window, her expression a mask of disapproval. The nurses cared for the babies, while Emily turned her face to the wall, unable to confront the reality of her situation. The shame grew inside her, festering like an untreated wound. One night, overwhelmed by despair, Emily made a decision that would haunt her forever. In the early hours before dawn, she slipped out of her hospital room, her heart pounding in her chest. She found the nursery, where her daughters lay sleeping, innocent and unaware of the darkness that surrounded them. With trembling hands, she lifted them from their cribs, cradling their fragile bodies against her chest. But as she approached the dumpster behind the hospital, fear gripped her heart. She believed that leaving them behind would free her from the burden of shame. With tears streaming down her face, Emily placed her daughters inside the dumpster, their cries piercing the silence of the morning. She slammed the lid shut, her heart breaking as she turned away, convinced that she had escaped the judgment of the world. But deep down, a voice whispered that she would never be free from the weight of her actions. Meanwhile, in the shadows of the city, a man named David pushed his cart through the alleys, searching for scraps to survive. He had lost everything in a tragic accident, and the emptiness of his life weighed heavily on him. One rainy morning, as he rummaged through a dumpster, he heard faint cries. His heart raced as he leaned closer, discovering two tiny babies wrapped in damp hospital blankets. David's heart ached as he held the girls close, feeling their warmth against his chest. He had lost a child of his own, and in that moment he felt a flicker of hope. He took the babies home to his small, dilapidated shed, where he cared for them with a love he thought he had lost. He named them Maya and Zoe, names that meant hope and light. As the days turned into weeks, David's life transformed. He woke each morning with a renewed sense of purpose, caring for the girls as they grew. He taught them to navigate the world, to find joy in the small moments, and to believe in themselves despite the challenges they faced. The shed became a home filled with laughter, love, and the promise of a brighter future. Maya and Zoe thrived under David's care, their spirits unbroken by the circumstances of their birth. They learned to walk, to talk, and to dream. David watched with pride as they blossomed into strong, resilient young girls. He knew the world would not always be kind to them, but he was determined to protect them from the shadows of their past. As the girls grew, they began to explore their talents. Maya discovered a passion for sewing, while Zoe found joy in drawing. They spent their evenings creating beautiful pieces, using scraps of fabric and paper they found in the streets. David encouraged their creativity, teaching them that their worth was not defined by their past but by the love they shared and the dreams they pursued. One day, as they set up a small stall in the local market, they caught the attention of passers-by. Their handmade creations drew admiration, and soon, customers began to seek them out. The whispers that once surrounded them transformed into words of encouragement and respect. The community began to see them not as the abandoned children of shame but as talented individuals with a bright future. As their small business flourished, the girls decided to name it Grace and Light, a tribute to the journey they had taken together. They poured their hearts into every piece they created, infusing each item with the love and hope that had brought them together. The market became a place of warmth and connection, where customers not only bought their goods but also shared in their story, but the past was not done with them yet. One fateful morning, as they prepared for the day, Emily returned to the town after years away. She wandered through the market, her heart heavy with regret and longing. When she spotted Maya and Zoe, her breath caught in her throat. The girls were a reflection of the life she had abandoned, and the weight of her choices crashed down upon her. Emily approached the stall, her hands trembling as she asked if they needed help. The girls exchanged glances, recognizing the woman who had once left them behind. They felt a mixture of emotions, anger, sadness, and a flicker of compassion. They offered her a small task, allowing her to sweep the area around their stall, giving her a chance to earn a few coins and a piece of bread. As the days passed, Emily returned, her presence a constant reminder of the past. The girls learned her name and began to understand the depth of her struggles. They saw the pain etched on her face, the weight of her choices pressing down on her shoulders. Despite the hurt she had caused, they felt a pull toward forgiveness, a desire to heal the wounds that had long been left open. One evening, as they sat together, David spoke up, inviting Emily to join them. He shared the story of how he had found the girls, how he had chosen to love them despite the circumstances of their birth. The truth hung in the air, a heavy but necessary weight. Emily listened, tears streaming down her face as she realized the impact of her actions. Maya and Zoe, with hearts full of compassion, chose to forgive their mother. They understood that forgiveness was not about erasing the past but about freeing themselves from its grip. They offered Emily a chance to be part of their lives, to learn and grow alongside them. In that moment, the shadows of the past began to lift, replaced by the light of understanding and love. As the days turned into weeks, Emily began to work with them, learning the skills that Maya had mastered. She found solace in the act of creation, her hands stitching together pieces of fabric that held the promise of a new beginning. The bond between them grew stronger, woven together by the threads of forgiveness and hope. David watched with pride as their family expanded, the love they shared illuminating the darkness that had once surrounded them. The shop, Grace and Light, became a beacon of hope in the community, a place where people came not just to buy but to witness the power of resilience and love. In the end, Emily found her place in the family she had once abandoned. She learned that the past did not define her, that she could choose to rise above the shadows and embrace the light. Together, they built a life filled with laughter, creativity, and the unwavering belief that they could overcome anything as long as they had each other. And so, in that small town, a story of redemption unfolded, a story of a mother, her daughters, and the man who had brought them together. They learned that love could heal even the deepest wounds, that forgiveness could light the way forward, and that together, they could create a future brighter than they had ever imagined.